Hey WildStar fans, this is Taugrim. Today we're going to look at a level 50 rated battleground. I'm running my Esper melee mage spec. Two big changes as far as abilities. I've swapped out Mind Burst for Telekinetic Storm, and that's because each of the 7 ticks of Telekinetic Storm can proc our amps and specials. And I've swapped out Phantasmal Armor for the excellent AoE Knockback Shockwave. So I'm running 4 active CCs, a Knockback, a Knockdown, a Root, and a Disarm. The amps are basically what I projected even before hitting level 50. This has worked really well. One important thing to note about the follow-through amp is that the 10.5% boost to your assault power is based on using a finisher no matter how many combo points are consumed. For set bonuses, I target 12 of 12 Spellweaver for the magic damage boon, as well as the possibility of putting a magic resistance debuff on your target, and then I use the PvP set Sight Before Sight, which can apply a blind on a critical, and can also on a critical heal, which includes bolster heal over time ticks, give you a buff to your critical hit chance and hit chance, the strike through. I'm getting bombed there, and I use my projected spirit to heal up for AK on a crit. It's a fantastic ability, one of the sources of our sustainability, the on-demand burst we have for self-healing. I also am using the excellent blue PvP gadget Protection, which gives an AoE 5k heal, and it's in my opinion mandatory for instance PvP for the battlegrounds and rated battlegrounds. So we're just trying to keep them off the flag here in the beginning. One really important thing to note as far as comp goes, I did queue for this solo, and the opposing team has a Stalker tank. In this current meta, it is by far the best flag carrier because they have good deflection mechanics with the preparation ability, and they can spam a point-blank AoE lifesteal, which can make it really difficult for bringing them down. You'll notice I kite away from the fighting a little bit because I'm low on health. I'm waiting for my projected spirit to come back off cooldown and building up combo points from range and firing off low combo point telekinetic storms to keep people off the flag, and then I punt their Esper healer or a Spellslinger healer off of the ledge there with Shockwave, and this allows our DPS to put a lot of pressure on their DPS up on top. And they have a few players come back from a res wave, so I'll go ahead and place a root here on the top of the ramp, get a kill there on a Stalker, and we're applying so much pressure to their healer, this other healer has to run away, and this allows our team to continue pushing them back around the flag and get a flag pickup in a moment here. One of the things I'm doing to help prevent the Stalker from picking up the flag is to keep stacking right there Telekinetic Storm on him. And the main reason for doing that is that, if it lands, it provides 7 seconds of, preventing him from capping. As far as I understand the mechanics, as long as the ability lands, as long as there's the dot on the player, he's not going to be able to pick up the flag, and we get the flag there, and I do what I do best. I use one of my CCs for an AoE knockdown, I use Telekinetic Storm for the snare, I use my knockback to get 2 people off the bridge, and at this point, our flag carrier is almost in the clear, and then this warrior here tries to bail out, but unfortunately for him, my dots from Telekinetic Storm are ticking on him, and that finishes him off. One really mechanically powerful thing about Telekinetic Storm is that if your target is below 30% HP, each dot tick can proc the Humanity, which is an amp that adds about 1,000 damage. In addition, we have 2 other sources of procs. One is from the PvP 1500 weapon, which is a really nice weapon that'll add another 500 damage, and then if I get a proc snare from the Slow It Down amp, then I get another 500 damage from No Remorse. So what this allows you to do for a low HP target with a Telekinetic Storm, regardless of how many combo points you consume, is get a lot of proc-based damage or conditional damage from your amps and your specials, and really apply good pressure. After we our flag carriers in the clear, we're applying pushing in deep in their lines, trying to wipe them so that we can control mid. And I'm looking for Meze here. This is their best player, the Spellslinger. As soon as Meze pops up, I go ahead and drop a Telekinetic Storm on that player. It has a really narrow telegraph, so it can be hard to aim and hard to land, but it has a 35mm range, which is great. Now this Spellslinger here is carrying the flag for them. I knock down that player, knock the flag carrier back, and then drop a root field, which they walk into. And when I went there to intercept the flag carrier, that Spellslinger had 100% health and about 70% shields, but because of those 3 CCs chained together, I managed to delay that flag carrier long enough for our friendly DPS to come up and crush the Spellslinger. Really, in the current meta, I don't think any player should be carrying a flag when it's going to be contested unless they are a stalker tank, really any tank spec class right now, or medic healer. Everyone else is way too squishy. Our team does make a mistake there. We stay up top to prevent the steal for so long that we're not down by the flag. You know, this is partly on me too. We weren't there when the flag spawned and their stalker tank picked it up, and like I said, in the current meta, they are ridiculously strong, especially when, you know, they have the support of a healer. I'm trying to stay out in front of this stalker tank and keep Telekinetic Storm ticking to apply, you know, chain snares, and whenever my CCs are off cooldown, like right here, I'll go ahead and use my root ability to try to delay him. One thing you'll notice, I'm very conscious about staying off the center line of all the damage, so I'm staying out of all those red telegraphs and staying at high HP. A lot of times you'll see players make the mistake of standing in overlapping reds and you're just going to get crushed. They do cap that flag, but we managed to control mid and get the next pickup, and I'm dropping a lot of Telekinetic Storms, overlapping multiple whenever I can. And again, this is mainly from a utility perspective. I'm trying to keep them chain snare, chain dazed, and any kills that I get along the way are a bonus. So our flag carrier is almost in our doorway here. I kite in front, knock back that warrior, use a disarm to disarm 2 enemy players. At this point, our flag carrier is pretty much in the clear. Relative to, you know, other DPS specs, we certainly lack the kind of, you know, controlled or on-demand burst that you get from a Spellslinger or from a warrior. We're really much more of a utility DPS. You know, we bring 4 active CCs to the battle, as well as, you know, decent sustained damage. And you can see, for example, with Mezi, this you know, excellent Spellslinger was at full health, and, you know, I rooted Mezi, used my innate to eat the Spell Surge to assassinate, and then drop a 5-point Telekinetic Storm to help, you know, kill that player. And Mezi even popped Runes of Protection. I think it looked like that bubble, but, you know, I was able to burn through it because, you know, when Mezi gets to under 30%, those additional procs from the humanity. So like I said, we play differently than a lot of other classes. Right there, I just got spatial shifted. So a Spellslinger swapped places with me. It's scrambled by movement keys. I stopped moving immediately because it's fruitless. But you can still mouse look aim, which I did to drop another Telekinetic Storm. So, you know, one really big difference, when you're running the Tier 8 Mind Burst, you really want to build up to 5 combo or side points consistently so that when you use your finisher, you get a plus 15% in power to your crit chance. However, with Telekinetic Storm, you know, there is no bonus per se for getting to 5 side points aside from the increased damage. And in a lot of cases, you'll just want to drop a lower combo point Telekinetic Storm just to protect the flag. And you see, I keep doing this. I will go and drop a Telekinetic Storm on the Stalker tank so he can't pick it up, and then switch DPS to other targets to keep them pressured. Now, unfortunately for our side, we start losing this fight. We're getting wiped here. You can see red players everywhere and only a couple greens, and I take my eyes off the flag just for a few seconds, and the Stalker tank picks it up. And at this point, since it's tied 4-4 and they have the last flag, game's pretty much over and we get wiped anyway. But that flag pickup was definitely, that's partly on me. I should have, you know, even though I was getting pressured, should have kept my eyes on it. I ended up finishing with over 2.1 million damage, which is second only to Mezi, that Spellslinger, and I tied for second with 17 kills and a really good kill-to-death ratio of 17-4 in a pug. You know, keep in mind I'm wearing 1500 gear, which is definitely an advantage over players who, you know, fresh 50s who only have regular blues. But even getting to the next step up with 1800 gear is going to be a monster improvement. Notice I also heal for 785,000, and that's without either of the pet-based heals, Geist or Spectral Swarm, which I think are absolute crap for group PvP because our CCs provide so much more value. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your questions and feedback. Take care.